You have watched action heroes fire hundreds of rounds without reloading, walk off gunshots like mosquito bites, and turn cars into fireballs with a single bullet. You have seen it so many times that it probably feels true. It is not. Here are 7 gun myths Hollywood keeps feeding you. This video examines firearms strictly as historical movie props and within a film analysis context. It is not about real-world use, tactics, or instruction. Number 7. The bulletproof vest that stops everything. You have seen it 100 times. A character gets shot point blank, stumbles back, then opens their shirt to reveal the vest underneath. They walk away like nothing happened. The Batman films do this constantly. Iron Man takes hits to the chest and keeps moving. In these scenes, body armor functions like an invisible force field that absorbs all damage. Here is what the movies leave out. Body armor comes in different protection levels, rated by the National Institute of Justice using standardized testing protocols. Soft armor, the kind worn under a shirt, is rated level 3A at most. This stops common handgun rounds like 9mm and .45 ACP caliber. Rifle rounds will punch right through with ease. To stop rifle fire, you need hard ceramic or steel plates, which add significant weight and bulk. The characters wearing concealed vests in films while shrugging off rifle fire are operating in pure fantasy. Even when armor does stop a bullet, the wearer feels it. The bullet's energy has to go somewhere. That energy transfers into blunt force trauma against the body. Cracked ribs, massive bruising, and internal injuries are common outcomes. Police officers who survive being shot while wearing vests often describe the impact like getting hit with a sledgehammer. They do not pop back up and continue the fight. The recovery takes weeks. The visual of an action hero immediately returning fire after taking center mass hits sells the invincibility fantasy that audiences love, but it ignores the basic physics of energy transfer that makes body armor both life-saving and punishing to wear. Number 6. We have the explosive gas tank. A single bullet hits a car and the whole vehicle erupts in a massive fireball. Lethal Weapon has this. Mad Max, Fury Road has this. The Fast and Furious franchise has made it a signature move. It looks incredible on screen. It makes absolutely no sense in physics. Modern automotive fuel tanks are engineered with safety as a primary concern. They include vapor barriers, rollover valves, and impact-resistant materials designed to prevent exactly this scenario. A bullet punching through a gas tank will create a hole. Gasoline will leak. An explosion requires specific conditions, though: the right fuel-to-air vapor ratio and an ignition source. A bullet traveling at high velocity is simply not an ignition source. The projectile does not generate sufficient heat or spark to ignite liquid fuel under normal atmospheric conditions. The television show Mythbusters tested this exact scenario multiple times. They shot gas tanks with various calibers and ammunition types. The result was consistent: punctures and leaks, but no explosions. The only way they achieved the Hollywood fireball was by using incendiary tracer rounds specifically designed to ignite targets, and even then it required precise conditions. Standard ammunition used in films simply cannot produce this effect. Federal motor vehicle safety standards require fuel system integrity testing specifically because preventing post-collision fires saves lives. The engineering works against the Hollywood fantasy. Number 5. Dual wielding and hip shooting with perfect accuracy. If you have ever tried to pat your head and rub your stomach at the same time, you already understand why this falls apart. The visual is iconic, though. Chow Yun-Fat sliding across the floor and hard-boiled, with a pistol in each hand, hitting targets in opposite directions. Dwayne Johnson hip-firing in the Fast and Furious franchise. These scenes show characters spraying bullets from multiple guns or without using sights, and every shot connects. Accurate shooting requires alignment between the shooter's eye, the gun's sights, and the target. This is called the sight picture. When you hold a gun at hip level, you completely lose the ability to create this alignment. You are relying on instinct and muscle memory alone. When you hold 2 guns simultaneously, you cannot focus on either one's sights properly. Your brain physically cannot look in 2 directions at once. Competitive shooting organizations in the United States track accuracy data extensively. The United States Practical Shooting Association and the International Defensive Pistol Association run thousands of matches annually with strict scoring systems. Even highly trained competitors using proper stances and sighting techniques miss regularly under time pressure. Police departments report that officers in actual defensive shootings hit their intended target only 20 to 30% of the time. The stress of a real encounter degrades accuracy dramatically. Hip shooting can work at extremely close distances, within a few feet. Beyond that range, the hit probability drops fast. Dual wielding doubles the recoil the shooter must manage while cutting their control in half. In competitive or defensive contexts, no serious shooter uses these techniques. They exist in movies because they look dynamic on camera. The choreography creates visual interest and suggests a character's exceptional skill, but the actual technique would produce far more misses than hits in any real scenario. Number 4. Guns with zero recoil. Tom Cruise fires a Desert Eagle one-handed in Mission Impossible: Fallout. The Desert Eagle is chambered in .50 Action Express, one of the most powerful handgun cartridges commercially available. In the film, he maintains perfect control and accuracy. Scarlett Johansson fires dual pistols in The Avengers with her wrists completely stable. These scenes depict firearms as having no more kick than a water pistol. Recoil is physics. When a bullet accelerates down the barrel, an equal and opposite force pushes backward into the gun. This is Newton's third law. A .44 Magnum revolver generates between 15 and 20 foot-pounds of recoil energy. That force transfers through the grip into the shooter's hands, wrists, and arms. Without proper technique and stance, repeated firing causes genuine fatigue and can lead to injury. The National Rifle Association's basic pistol courses spend considerable time on recoil management. Students learn specific stances, the Weaver and isosceles positions, designed to absorb and control this force. Larger calibers like the Smith & Wesson 500 require two-handed grips and experienced shooters to control safely. Videos online show inexperienced shooters losing control of high-caliber revolvers, sometimes with dangerous results. The reason movie actors appear unfazed is simple. Prop guns fire blanks with reduced powder charges or no actual ammunition at all. Digital muzzle flashes are added in post-production. The physical forces that real shooters must manage simply do not exist on a film set. When you see an actor fire 20 rounds from a heavy-caliber weapon with rock-steady arms, you are watching the result of careful prop work and special effects rather than any actual shooting technique. Number 3 brings us to infinite ammunition. You know this one. Arnold Schwarzenegger firing a minigun for extended periods in Terminator 2. Bruce Willis holding his Beretta 92 FS sideways in Die Hard, seemingly firing dozens of rounds without stopping. Action heroes blaze away in extended firefights, and the concept of running out of ammunition rarely enters the story. Real magazines have fixed capacities determined by their physical dimensions. A standard Glock 19 magazine holds 15 rounds of 9mm ammunition. Extended magazines can increase this to 33 rounds, but that is the absolute maximum. A Colt Python revolver holds exactly 6 shots. Once empty, the shooter must reload. There's no exception to this rule. This is when vulnerability matters most. The mathematics of fully automatic fire make this even more obvious. An M4 carbine on automatic cycles at approximately 700 to 950 rounds per minute. A standard 30-round magazine empties in roughly 2 to 3 seconds of continuous fire. The minigun Schwarzenegger carries in Terminator 2 fires at 6,000 rounds per minute. The ammunition belt visible in the film would last perhaps 10 seconds at most. American soldiers in combat carry 7 30-round magazines, giving them 210 rounds for their M4 rifles. This ammunition must last for entire engagements that can stretch over hours. Conservation and accurate shot placement are survival skills. The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives tracks defensive firearm uses in the United States, and the data shows most incidents involve only 2 to 3 shots fired. Marathon shooting sessions exist only in editing rooms. The film Heat from 1995 stands out as a notable exception in Hollywood. During the famous bank robbery shootout, characters perform tactical reloads during the firefight. This attention to ammunition management adds tension and realism that most action films deliberately avoid for the sake of pacing. Number 2. Bullets that send people flying backward. If you grew up watching The Matrix, this visual is burned into your brain. Agent Smith takes a shotgun blast and launches across the room. RoboCop shows criminals hurled off their feet by pistol rounds. The implication is that bullets carry enough energy to throw a human body like a rag doll. Physics again provides the answer. Newton's third law applies here as well. If a bullet could knock a 200-pound person off their feet, the recoil would do the same to the shooter. A 9mm bullet weighing 124 grains and traveling at 200 feet per second delivers approximately 400 foot-pounds of energy. This is enough to penetrate tissue and cause serious damage. It is nowhere near enough to launch a human body. Film productions achieve this effect using squibs, small explosive charges attached to actors, and timed to detonate on cue. Wire rigs pull performers backward when the squib fires. The visual effect is dramatic and memorable, but it represents special effects work rather than ballistics. Medical data from gunshot wound cases shows what actually happens. Victims often remain standing initially, continuing to move on adrenaline before blood loss or organ damage causes collapse. The direction of fall depends on the victim's position and momentum, not the bullet's impact. Forward falls are as common as backward ones in documented cases. The Federal Bureau of Investigation trains agents on this reality. Multiple shots may be necessary to stop an aggressor because the Hollywood one-shot stop rarely matches real-world physiology. The Centers for Disease Control reports over 48,000 gun-related deaths annually in the United States, and forensic autopsies consistently show that wound damage comes from tissue disruption and hemorrhage rather than kinetic knockback. The dramatic launch across the room remains a purely cinematic invention. Number 1. The silent suppressor. This is probably the myth you have seen the most. James Bond in Goldfinger attaches a suppressor to his Walther PPK and fires inside buildings without anyone noticing. John Wick, Chapter 4, depicts suppressor-equipped handguns as producing barely a whisper during close-quarters combat. The implication is that these devices transform gunfire into complete silence. The term silencer appears in federal law, but suppressor is the more accurate technical description. These devices reduce sound, they do not eliminate it. An unsuppressed 9mm pistol produces approximately 160 decibels. That is louder than a jackhammer and causes immediate hearing damage. A quality suppressor reduces this by 20 to 40 decibels on average, bringing the sound down to 120 to 140 decibels. This is comparable to a chainsaw or a thunderclap. Still extremely loud, still absolutely noticeable to anyone nearby. The physics behind suppressors involves managing expanding gases. When a bullet fires, high-pressure gases follow it out of the barrel and create the characteristic bang. Suppressors use internal baffles and expansion chambers to slow these gases and release them more gradually. This reduces the muzzle blast component of the sound. However, supersonic ammunition creates a separate noise, the sonic crack of the bullet breaking the sound barrier at roughly 100 feet per second. Suppressors cannot affect this. The bullet makes its own noise independent of the gun. Testing by the American Suppressor Association shows that suppressed AR-15 rifles in .223 caliber still produce approximately 132 decibels. This is audible from hundreds of feet away in quiet conditions. Subsonic ammunition eliminates the sonic crack, but trades significant velocity and range. The Federal Bureau of Investigation's Firearms Training Unit notes that suppressed gunfire can still be localized within 50 to 100 yards outdoors. The National Firearms Act of 1934 regulates suppressors in the United States. Purchasing one requires a $200 tax stamp, extensive background check, and wait times that often exceed a year. As of 2023, over 3 million suppressors are registered with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Their primary civilian use is hearing protection for sport shooters and hunters, not covert operations. The Hollywood silent assassin is a sound design choice, not a reflection of how these devices actually perform. The history of suppressor technology traces back to Hiram Percy Maxim's 1902 invention, marketed as the Maxim silencer. Even World War II-era devices like the British Welrod pistol, designed specifically for covert operations, produced noticeable sound. The silent shot exists only in post-production audio mixing. Suppressor types vary considerably. Integral suppressors built directly into the firearm, like those on the H&K MP5 SD submachine gun, offer better sound reduction but add bulk and weight. User-attachable models from companies like Silencer Co. range from $500 to $1,500 and require regular maintenance as carbon buildup degrades their effectiveness. The film No Country for Old Men shows Anton Chigurh using a suppressed shotgun depicted as nearly silent. Real suppressed shotguns remain around 130 decibels due to the wide bore and multiple projectiles. The film's sound design created an effective atmosphere of menace, but the acoustic reality would be dramatically different. These 7 myths serve a purpose in filmmaking. They create visual spectacle, maintain pacing, and let action sequences flow without technical interruptions. As entertainment, they work effectively. As education about how firearms actually function, they fail completely. For American viewers engaging in discussions about gun policy, self-defense, or responsible ownership, understanding the gap between cinema and reality is essential. What works on screen belongs on screen.